Let's get it poppin'. Let's get it poppin'.
Yo,
What's up? What's up?
hey, welcome to Pivot and Proceed and Zuri. Like, I was just reflecting on what we've been doing already, right? First episode, lost jobs and broken mirrors. Last episode, talking about
OG.
sitting on the couch. Like, life gonna sit you on the couch. And I'm like, what a great episode. Open up my laptop from vacation, you're fired. And I'm like, sheesh.
Wait.
Whoa.
Yeah. And we ain't
exactly, Tunji.
No. Listen. So, and we ain't gonna get into details because that don't help anybody. Actually, let's just go into details. So it's like the beginning of the year. I've been really considering going full time with the holistic health company, with Rhyme, with developing it. And the more momentum you get in the back of your head, you like, man, I'm him. If I had to, I could, and I would. And 6 months through the year, we're going to do this thing. Do you know what 6 months through the year is? It's June. And do you know what June did? It passed. And like I've said before on here, I tell God, like, if I'm not able to do it, close the door. Because I have an addictive personality. And if I'm not able to do it, close the door. And when you're in a good situation and you used to money coming in every 2 weeks and the job is solid, you like, am I really going to put myself out there, put my family out there, put these loans and these bills and these debts out there? Because they got to get paid. And then to have the opportunities to do it. And then the time where I said I would sit down and readjust, I didn't honor it. Time came and went, and then it literally was halfway through the year, and then I get that conversation like, you're gone. And I won't go into the details of why, but I'll say it was justified. Even though I'm exceptional at my job, and they know I'm exceptional, I had to sit down and take that L and say, you're right. Like, thank you for the opportunity. And then I'm telling you, that's this life sitting you down on the couch when you in a groove, you think you have it figured out. It's like my man.
And God gotta snatch you. God gotta snatch you, because if not, you will still be there doing your best. You know what I'm saying?
You.
And I just want people to take this opportunity. I love how you started this episode when you mentioned the other 2 episodes that is linking to what you're going through and what you went through, because I just want everybody to know who is listening right now. This is why you listen to Pivot and Proceed, because I promise you, we live this shit. Like, this is alignment. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on.
Like, I know
y'all scare me,
goddamn.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Like, this is real.
I'm not ready.
I just want y'all to know that these are real things that are happening to us, and we are putting our heart and our soul and our experiences into this mic, man, for us first and for y'all to listen. Man, like, life will really sit you on the couch, like, for real. And God will really pull you up out of things that you don't need to be anymore to get you to where you need to be and where He wants you to be. You know what I'm saying?
And what's so scary is, like, you never, and it's one thing to talk it, but to live it.
Yes.
Right? It's one thing to talk it, but to live it. And I just have to keep saying that to myself, because I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I had a conversation with my peoples afterwards, and you know me, Mr. Positivity mentality, but like, you know what the alignment is. I had a conversation, my morning talk that morning, my Rhyme 365 was day 0 again, because I messed up on sending a text message. That same day, it was day 0. And I was like, leadership isn't about not making mistakes, not failing. It's how you respond to it, right? And then I'm like, open my computer. You terminated. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Now let's put it into action. It's like we talk it. Now let's put it into action. Let's walk in it. And
then, okay, I get the mentality. I have conversations with my people. I say, okay, this is what it is. Because I'm looking at all the alignment. I take a nap. And this is what I'm telling you. When you decide where you're supposed to go and you know that you know that you know, I took a nap and I wake up in the direction I'm not supposed to go. But like, this other opportunity, 6 figures. This other opportunity, 6 figures in 6 months on the road that is not the road. And I don't know if it's God, like, well, I know it's God, but just for y'all, it's like, that ain't for me. Life will tell you where you're supposed to go. And the devil and other distractions, whatever, will tempt you with what looks like a great opportunity, with what looks like the right opportunity.
Preach.
But you know it's wrong, but it
feels right.
It feels right. It's safer.
Yeah.
It's consistent. It's what I'm used to, but it's not the road you're supposed to take.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is like it was a recruiter I had been talking to or whatever, just in case. He hit me up and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm talking to the other hiring managers today. Is there anything that's changed on your side?" And I was like, "Nope. Just hit the managers up. Let me know what's going on." But then I had to call him back 2 days later and be like, "I'm pursuing the vision. This is what I'm doing." And I had to tell him, I didn't have to tell him, but I had to tell him for me.
To close the door.
I had to close the doors. I can't keep those doors open because I'm going to run through them. I'm going to run through them. And that's just like wisdom. That's and me being real with myself. Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. That's why they so many. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, y'all scared me, goddamn. Like, it's funny. It's funny how this happened. Because I'm just like looking in the mirror. Like when I heard the news, I'm like, am I next, bro? Like this has literally happened to three people who are very close to me in the last 3 months. Like this is like it's
a shift happening, man.
Bro,
it's a shift.
And I'm like, I think what the crazy part about this whole, this whole philosophy, right? What you were saying, Zuri, about this is why you listen, because we live this, like we really do, and I think even for myself, I think what's interesting about this is because I was reflecting, I was thinking, I'm like, am I next? Am I going to get fired next? And honestly, only God knows. But what I would say is, really, I've been trying to live in my truth. I really try to my best to just live honestly, on first, because it starts with me, right? Like I can't be honest with other people if I'm not first honest with myself, and that's hard though. A lot of people aren't honest with themselves. A lot of people run from the work that they need to do. A lot of people run from the discomfort that they feel, because even the discomfort that I feel, to me, is not just some, emotion. It's actually an indicator that, hey, pay attention to this, hey, like there's something that you should ponder on a little bit. A lot of times I don't even know the answer. I just have a feeling. I get irritated and I'm like, why the fuck am I still like dealing with this? Like, why am I, like I should be happy, but I'm not, right? So there's something there. So, I think for me, there is some transitions definitely happening. There's definitely some transitions happening. I don't know when the big shift is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be a big shift. It could be a lighter shift, but hey, shit, the way it's looking, it's probably going to be a big shift.
Yeah.
Either way it goes, I just wanted to say that, like, if you're kind of listening to these stories and wondering like, damn, like all this stuff is happening, I think, it's really it's a process of being honest with yourself. It's a process of continuing to be authentic. And I think the universe is just going to work in a way that's going to help propel you towards that authenticity.
Yeah. And to circle back, I love what you're saying, because I think it's so much God-given talent in just being authentically yourself in whatever situation you are put in. And what I mean by that is the higher power already made us who he wanted us to be, right? So if we listen and we walk into that, doors are going to open, doors are going to close that are not for you, because you gave your authentic best in that moment, whatever that is for you. If you walk in that, doors are going to open just for you in the way that it was supposed to open for you. You're going to touch people who only you can touch. And you're going to walk through doors that not one man can touch, open, anything. They can't do it just like you. So I think it's such power in what you were saying, Kamau, of just like how you're stepping into really who you are. You start to shine a light where you're supposed to shine that light, whatever darkness is around you, right? And I also want to circle back to something too that Tunji was saying, the stability part where you were speaking of. Well, I saw, and I got that out of what you were saying. We can really get so used to stability. A statement of just like different distractions or, different, devils that might come and try to distract you. I think stability can play a part in distractions. And what I mean by that is in different, we're speaking of jobs, right? So in different jobs, in different environments, stability can be very addictive, especially if you know, like you said, Tunji, if you know what you know. But sometimes to step into that, you have to step out of that stability, step out of that comfort. And that comfort and stability can serve as a distraction, can serve as, this is going to sound so weird, y'all, but it can really serve as the devil in that form, right? Because you get used to being a way that your mind is kind of like a blockage to where you need to be. So it's just like there's so much power in being able to step out of stability and knowing that I know deep down that I'm meant for greater, and this stability has nothing on the stability I'm going to create for myself by stepping into truly who I am.
Something you said just hit me so hard. It's like people think love is not safety. God is not safety. It is not your comfort, and it's not going to feel that way. Right? Like it's those two things are not synonyms. And we so used to when people say, God will comfort you, God will this, that doesn't mean the path will always feel that way. And so we assume that the path that is the most comfortable is the stable path, is the one that you're supposed to be on, when that's not the one that grows you. And it never has been. It never has been. And it's so crazy. Number one, shout out to you, Zuri. Because from day one, even before we started this podcast, I've been praying that, because I dream impossible dreams and chase beautiful failures. So in the sense of the things that I'm chasing, I can't do alone. So I said, bring the people, colleagues, and friends in my life that help me make this a reality. And on the first episode, you had the courage to say it.
No cap.
So because down the line, I'm hard-headed. I would not have been saying this. I would wait till I'm greasy, I'm straight, the money in my pocket, the work is inflowing, and then I talk greasy.
Yeah.
But now I'm talking before I'm in that place because you had the courage too. Courage is contagious. Yeah. I'm telling you, as Rumi said, set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames. Y'all fan my flames. So I appreciate you.
I got chills, man. We're in the ring.
Hey, what's also interesting, I think, this is something, we're getting authentic. So here we go. So what's interesting about a phenomenon that I've been feeling is feeling like I need to do this because this is God's work when it's not something that I want to do. Like I have desires and other things to chase, that I'm curious, that I want to explore, that, feed my, feed other just curiosities that I've had. But I feel like what I'm doing is God's work. Like I need to be doing it. And it's an interesting thing to wrestle with, because I'm like, God, we done yet? You know what I'm saying? Can I try some other stuff? And the way that I kind of work with the universe is I really try to let things flow. When I was younger, I largely, just had so much confidence in my ability, and I was just like, I'm just gonna blast through things. I'm just gonna bulldoze through things. I'm just gonna headstrong. I'm gonna let my willpower and my work ethic get me whatever I want. And then somewhere along the line, I kind of just changed it to where it was like, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna go with the path of least resistance. And I think sometimes people look at that and like, oh, you're taking the easy route. And it's like, not the easy route, but just the thing that just having enough awareness and situational awareness to recognize that things are flowing for a reason, and not to just not to ignore that and disregard that, really utilize the current in the direction it's going. I just find myself right now in a position where I'm just swimming. I've been swimming this current, and like, look, it's impacting people. It's helping people. But I'm like, what about some of these other rivers over there? You know what I'm saying? Like, what about some of these? Like, but it's an interesting phenomenon.
No, what I'm saying is what you're saying is absolutely true. Because it's like, and what people don't understand is taking the path of least resistance when you decided to walk through the woods in the journey. There is no real path where you're going. But I believe when you choose that harder road, when you choose the one, like you were saying before, you were at a point where, you know, all your friends were graduating and you were sitting back at the house, had to start over. And you had to be sat down on that couch. And now you're reaping the benefits from sacrifices and decisions you've made of, you're taking the harder road. So God always opens up that next door, right? That next path in the bushes, you figure out the next step. What's happening a year from now, 2 years from now? Only God knows. Who knows? We plan and we try and figure it out. We know what the end goal is, but those next steps, it does not look the way you think it's gonna look. Like, this is exactly how I put it on paper, but this is not how I thought it was going to look. No, that's what's so trippy about it. I said 6 months. Are we making this shift? If we ready, you know. But in reality, and I was putting the website together too today, like my website, and I was looking at the media page, and I was putting Pivot and Proceed on there, and the different talks I've done, and the workshop, and I'm like, boy, you've been ready. You've been blocking other people's blessings. You've been, and that hit me so hard. Like, when I was looking at because I was insecure when I was first making the website, because I had nothing to put on that page, right? I'm like, yeah, but this is how many years ago, it's not hitting like that. And now I'm updating it today, and I'm like, man, I should have started a few months ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right
like,
on time, though.
You know, no,
you
exactly.
Right on time, Tunji. You right on time.
Not I should have, but I could have, right? And if I was left to my own devices, I wouldn't be starting right now. I wouldn't. So it's a crazy thing. Like you said, that right on time, that alignment. Yeah. So,
and like it's all about
is that listening.
And it's all about going with the flow. And there's, I mean, this is perfect. You going with the flow actually can be one of the hardest things to do, because all you're legit doing is going off of faith.
Real you know, talk.
That's
Real
it.
Talk.
That's all you're doing.
Right.
Going with the flow is just, I think, a new type of, you know, swaggy way to say it. But that's really all you're doing when you're going with the flow. You're believing in yourself so much that you're like, no, that I listen, I can hear, listen, I trust myself, and I'm listening, and I'm 10 toes down. So I'm going with the flow. Fuck whatever else y'all talking about. You can make the plans. You have the plans for the foundation, but when you go with the flow, you are trusting yourself so deeply that you're like, it's like being on a yacht somewhere, and you just trusting the flow of the waves to take you to your destination. How come when we on a yacht, we know where we want to go, we're on the boat, we're sipping in mimosas, and we're trusting the waves to take us back to shore? But in life, when we're going with the flow of our own waves, we start to get nervous. We're like, nah, I can't do this. I have too much anxiety. I don't trust this. I don't trust myself. You think of it as you're on a boat and you're trusting the waves to get you back to shore, or you're trusting the captain. When we on a plane, we trust the captain to get us where we're going.
Facts.
We're trusting the air to get us where we're going. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's start going with the flow more.
The challenging part about it, though, from a mortal perspective, is not knowing how long that flow goes. You know, thinking about the time, because us as humans, we have this belief that, you know, we can time things. Like, we kind of have a good approximation of like, oh, this should take this long. This should, you know, this process should be this, you know, in 3 years I'll be here. And, you know, from firsthand experience, going with the flow is a process of surrendering. It is a process of choosing the feeling versus what your brain says it or you can be doing. You know, it's like, no, I'm recognizing something here. I can't necessarily explain it, but it just seems like this is the direction. And that part is a process of surrender, because it's a process of giving up that willpower and saying, I'm going to trust in something greater. You know, I'm going to have faith. So, you know, it's funny when you think about this, like, going with the flow is actually a spiritual decision. Like it is kind of like, you know, a groovy or kind of trendy way to put it, but it's actually a spiritual act.
And if we want to keep it a buck, like, we're so arrogant. You don't have a choice. You think you do. Like the Buddha said, the trouble is you think you have time. Life can be stripped away from you today. Real talk. And that's what this showed me. You think you have it figured out, but best laid plans of mice and men. You have no control. You have no control. Like, somebody's baby was lost today. Somebody's father, somebody's mother, somebody's child, somebody's most precious person is gone. And we just have this mentality that I'm gonna always be here, or at least I got one more week. You know, at least I got 20 more years. You know, I'm gonna be here 50 more. No. Like, what did this saint said? Live as if your soul would be taken tomorrow, and treat your body as if you would live forever. Because you get one body. So treat it like you're gonna have it till the end of time. But that soul, treat it as if your soul would be ripped away tomorrow. And it's like, what's in my soul, I need to get it out. That's what that tells me. What if my soul was to be taken tomorrow? I need to get everything in me that's for us, that's for me. And forget the us. I want to be able to watch what was in my soul, right? I need to put it on wax so I can see, okay, this is what my soul looked like. And the reality is it could all be gone. And it just makes I was already talking greasy, but now I have no choice but to live it. You got to show up. Every opportunity is the opportunity. Every moment matters. Every person matters. You gotta be present. You gotta make it shake.
And I feel like when you look at it from the aspect, if y'all can see this man right now, his eyes are focused. And when you go from the aspect of not having a choice, I feel like other people start to feel that energy. And that's when you start to get around the people that you're supposed to be around. You start building your community that you're supposed to build. You start walking in that purpose that you were put on here for, because you have no choice but to do that. It's really something about human nature and just how humans are built, right? How our souls are built, whatever you want to say. When we don't have a choice but to do that thing, whatever it is, I'm telling you, it is something that just ignites us that nobody can ignore. And when you can't ignore it yourself, nobody else can. Everything starts with you.
Yeah, and it reminds me of this Tony Robbins quote. He was like, we don't do our shoulds, we do our musts. What Facts. You must do.
No cap.
What like this, like when you have to get it, you get it. He said, when the general, like, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. Because when there's no going home, there is no home. You make it happen. When there's no plan B. And you've noticed anybody, like I was listening to Michael B. Jordan, anybody that you've seen up there, Will Smith, like anybody, they're like, there was no plan B. Mm-hmm. I had nowhere else to go. So when I hit rock bottom, like you hit rock bottom, when everybody in my life was like, maybe you should do something else, I looked at myself and I wish, but there is nothing else.
And they don't have to get it. It's power in them not getting it too. When people don't, I don't know about y'all, but when someone doesn't understand what I'm saying and what I mean of where I'm going, it's this, I don't want to call it weird, but it's such an igniting of the fire. Where it's like the fact that you don't get it, I love that because it's not meant for you, which means that has just confirmed of why I'm here. It's confirmed of where I'm about to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And whenever somebody doesn't get it, all I say is like, oh man, I'm needed, right? And not that I'm needed to show you, this has to exist. This has to exist. Because when you're chasing the impossible thing, it's also validation for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I am chasing something that's impossible, right? It's a beautiful thing. And it's another quote, Bruce Lee, he said that a goal is not always meant to be reached. It often serves simply as something to aim at. And we put goals and these different missions and things that we're supposed to, these goals and actions that we want to hit. But really when it's about a deeper mission, there's nothing they can do with you, because the mission I'm chasing is generational. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm struck down today, I've just planted so many seeds, somebody's going to pick it up and start harvesting, right? There's already crops to eat off of, but this ain't the forest yet. Like the vineyard ain't cranked up like it needs to be. And all that means is I wasn't the chosen one. I was one that was chosen, and that next person is going to feel the same way too. And that's how it needs to be.
I think it's the difference too of what you want versus what the people need. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you it's very easy to start with what we want because we kind of know. But then you also kind of figure out, like, what am I good at that people need, you know? And then when you can get to the position where you're focusing on the people, you're focusing on serving, like the two kind of start to figure each other out, you know? And then you get to a point where that alignment really clicks and you're like, boy, I'm cooking at what the people need. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting nasty with this. Like people are coming, they're seeking me out for things that I'm good at doing, but this is also what they need. I'm not just doing stuff, you know. Tragically, I think about like a artist, right? Like a artist who's just kind of getting started. He's walking around trying to pass out tapes. Man, get that out my face. I don't want to hear your tape, man. I'm sorry. But that's not a bad reflection of the artist. He just hasn't found what the people need yet. To continue to work at the craft, you got to think about, like, how can I create something that the people need? And then you're going to get to a place where you have found what the people need and you're doing what you want to do, and it's going to get nasty, bro.
And I would argue, go ahead.
I'd argue
it gets nasty because when you find what the people need, you found yourself. Because what the people need is you. And when you, because I think of like LaRussell from the Bay. He's been like, I don't know if you've heard him as an artist. I guess I'm jumping on mine a little bit early. Like if you listen to him, you watch videos of him, you're like, oh, he's been cooking for a minute. And now he's in that pocket where he's found himself. And you feel the energy. And he's the one that's like, my nigga, go get that bag. That bag, like that's him. That's him. Like, and when you hear it, you feel the energy and you know without a doubt that is him. Mm-hmm. That is him. And the energy comes off because it's him. So is this like, when you say that, Kamau, I think about the balance of that back and forth of it's a journey to find yourself. And then you find that alignment because people will seek out the skills that you have developed and like the you that is needed. Like the people almost tell you, oh, here's your pocket. Here's your pocket. And it's that balance of staying true to you once people start pulling you in other directions, once the skills get a depth.
Yeah.
And people will pull you in other paths from where you're supposed to be. Because like you say, you get nasty when you start to scale. And then you got to come back home to yourself and say, okay, like, let me keep me now. Yeah. Let me not get lost in the sauce.
I also look at it from an aspect of the people don't know what they need until
exactly. I was going to say that. Go ahead.
And I think that's where that's how I see it. That's where I see where generational curses are broken, where generational positive generational patterns are created. Because a lot of people don't know they need it until you show up as you. A lot of people don't know they need it until they see it being done. You have to see it to believe it. Mm-hmm. And some people who are chosen to see the vision before it's even laid out or before the seed is even planted, because they are the seed. Now people get it. Now people are on the train. Now people are on that Noah's Ark. Y'all know I love to get spiritual. So it's like when people don't know something until they need it, that's where that fire starts to ignite in them. Because just think, you put yourself in like your inner child or like you're an infant. You don't know that you need to walk until you get that feeling of like, I want to start walking now. Something feels a little weird about crawling. I think I need to stand up. But I didn't know I needed that until I was shown that. And your whole life has changed now. You're not crawling anymore. You're standing on 2 feet, 10 toes down, and you're going forward. So I think if we can be our authentic self, if we can build those communities, and we can show people what they need, from being our authentic self, people start to walk, man. No more crawling. People start walking, people start running, people flying, people changing lives.
From the other side of it too, from what there's what the people need, and then there's the person who's delivering what they need. For the person who's delivering what they need, I talked about the artist. The challenging part is when you're creating something that people don't know that they need yet, you get discouraged. You get like, man, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm just wasting my time, like I'm just like, people hate this. Like, I'm not connecting, right? And I think that part is just the experimentation. Like, you just got to continue to experiment, and you got to continue to fucking pivot, and you got to continue to fucking proceed. Like, you have to. It's the process. Like, and you're gonna get to a place where the two are gonna align, but that's what you're facing right now. You're in the process of, I don't know what they need, but I do have a vision for what I think they need, and you just don't have the two connected.
No, that's so. And to connect the two thoughts, like Ubuntu, a human being cannot be a human being without other human beings. You learn to walk by watching other human beings walk. You develop your muscles, you stand up, you fall down, you stand up, you fall down, you get that mixtape, you find out that you sound just like the rappers that, you listen to all the time. That's that standing up and falling down. People don't want to hear just another version of someone else. But if you keep standing back up, you find how you walk where no one else walks. And it's a journey to master it now. Because that child is walking and wobbling for a minute. So just because you're on your 2 feet, don't think that you've mastered walking. Right? Just because you've made a little money for it, don't think you've mastered yourself. Just because you're comfortable, don't think you've mastered yourself.
And be okay if your walk changes throughout life too. You might get a little limp down the road. You might be crippled for a little bit.
No, real talk.
You might have to sit down for a little bit. You might be paralyzed for a little bit. But if you start to walk different, start walking differently, still in your path, still on your path. It doesn't matter if you have to, not look like everybody else for a while. If you have to walk with a, horrible limp for a while, it's okay. Because you're still on your path. That is all that matters. If you slow down that walk, if you speed up that walk, if you got to run a little bit to catch up because you quit on something, it doesn't matter, man. Keep pivoting. If you got to pivot and that's all you're doing, you're not even walking. Shit. In a season of your life, you're not even walking. All you're doing is pivoting into other arenas in your life. It is okay. But you're still on 2 feet. And everything I said, no matter what changed, no matter if you stopped, you were still on 2 feet, 10 toes down. I think that's all that matters sometimes in the moment is you look around and you see all these people walking and you see some running, you see some even fucking flying. And you're just like, yo, I am on the ground, but you still 10 toes down though. There's beauty in everything. There's always beauty in being 10 toes down. I swear to God.
When I tell you this journey is a crazy thing. This journey is a crazy thing, and I'll just bring it back to this Benjamin E. Mays quote that really defines my life. We're all created to do something unique and something distinctive. And if we do not do it, it will never be done. There is a gap that you are meant to fill, that you were born to fill. An African proverb says, a person should prove himself worthy of his own flesh and blood. If you know what you were really cut like, you wouldn't question taking the scary road. If you knew, and this is something I tell myself every single morning. Fear is an instinct that is pure. Fear doesn't lie to you. When you're scared of something, you're scared of something. Like that's ancestral. But when you use it as a directional tool, this is the question. You look at something you're afraid of, and you ask yourself, if I knew I couldn't fail, would I go down that path? If the answer is yes, that's the path you take. It's that simple. If it scares you.
Wow, that's a powerful question.
If it scares you and you say, if I knew I couldn't fail, would I do this thing? And the answer is yes, you do that thing. It will that one question, that one strategy will transform your entire life. And don't get it twisted. You're going to sit in the darkness sometimes. It's going to be hard. But if you keep asking that question and going down those paths, you're going, as Zuri said, you're going to be 10 toes down on the ground and you're going to fly at the same time. Life is different. Life is different.
I want to ask y'all to something actually Zuri ended with. I really liked her analogy about, you're walking, you might be wobbling, but then there's people who are running, and then shit, there's even people who are flying. How do you guys deal with that comparison as you're on your journey and you're looking at people and they're flying and you're like crawling? How do you deal with that like comparison and that inner talk with yourself?
It took me a while to get to this point to even answer this question. And I love this question so much because for the past few years, I always saw people running. Fuck that. Let me be honest. Ever since I was young, like knee high, I always felt like people were flying around me, even in my own like household. I always felt like people were flying. I always felt like I was crawling. Like I wasn't even walking. I always felt like that my whole life until I really started to look at myself and actually ask myself, what do I want to do? Who am I? When am I my happiest? When do I forget the world exists? Where am I when these things happen? I started asking myself these questions. And as I got older, thankfully, I finally found out what that thing was, the type of people I love to be around, the things I love to talk about. It's not what everybody always likes to talk about. Like a lot of people don't even have these conversations that us three are having. And I found you guys because I stepped into who I am authentically. And now I have conversations that are beautiful to me. All of this is a part of the story to your question. And when I would see people flying, it always made me feel little, made me feel dumb. I mean, shit, when I was younger, I got called dumb, like if we want to be honest. And those people who would call me that were flying to me because I'm like, the fact that you even have the courage to call me that, now you've shifted my insecurities. You've created insecurities and you've shifted my mindset to think that you're flying and I'm a fish trying to get up a tree. So when you asked that question, come out, you really took me back. And to answer your question, I had to say, fuck everybody who I think is flying or who are flying to me and where I'm trying to get. Because even though I'm crawling right now, the first shall be last and the last gonna always be first. And if you see yourself as a sheep, I promise you, the minute that you know that you're a goat is when you turn into the goat. The sheep, the black sheep always turns into the goat after a while.
Time for the black sheep, because I used to claim that.
So that's my story. If y'all want to know where Zuri came from mentally and who I am, that statement until now is literally who I am in a nutshell, bottled up, and you could take it with you.
The black sheep that turned into the goat, man.
The black sheep. The black sheep. I was just about to say that. That's the title of the book. That's the title of the episode. That's the title of the life. The black sheep becomes the black sheep.
It has no choice. It has no choice. It always becomes the goat. So I always would see people flying, but when I knew I was the goat, that's when I started flying. But I had to start flying in my eyes and in the mirror before I could fly in everybody else's mind, life, eyes, heart, whatever it is. So I can end this answer by saying, Kamau, to answer your question. Once upon a time, I always saw myself crawling until I knew that I was a flyer. And ever since then, I've been flying in my eyes, and I would say everybody else's eyes if they want to be honest. And that's just a backdrop right there.
Yeah. Man, talk greasy.
Shout out to all the black sheep one time.
Listen,
real talk.
We here.
And to answer your question, Kamau, say like, how do I, when I see other people, I don't see them. I really don't. And it's because I feed myself so much. Like Zuri said, the things I love, I'm so locked in what I have to do and feeding myself every day. All the other things that would make me get caught up in other people have fallen away. Right? It's not even that, oh, I stopped watching TV because that's a waste of time. I love TV. I love Netflix. I love shows. I love movies. I obsessed over those things. And now I find myself on a certain point in my path where I have a list of shows that's just like one day I'm getting back to. Y'all, I ain't seen the last episode of the last season of Insecure, Snowball. I still ain't finished The Wire. And I started that like over 2 ago. Like, all these things, I'm like, oh, I want to watch. But I'm so locked in vision and what I'm chasing. And what I'm telling you is it's not a struggle in the sense of I'm being punished. Every day I wake up, and we talked about this, I think last week, it's like, I want this bottled up and given to other people. Mm-hmm. I want people to feel like what it feels like to be fully present in the moment. Like you talk about that flight looks like I'll walk up to anybody on this planet Earth. I look them into the eye and I'm like, I'm the most blessed man alive. The confidence is different. Mm-hmm. I've earned becoming me. I've earned it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not pretending. Like you say, you feel that energy when there is no plan B. There's no plan B to being yourself. I can't be nobody else. And I'm growing and chasing the best version of me. And I think it's something Jordan Peterson said as well. When you're younger, when you're around certain people that are around your same environment, it's easier to compare. But once you start getting like a few years out of like 21, 22, you're in 25, like you start getting into mid-20s. By the time you hit 30, there is no way to compare two people, even if they're in the same household. Because those like powerful minor decisions become so major now. Those slight choice variations, they compound over time. So at this point, you, Kamau, Zuri, Tunji, like there is no way to compare yourself to anybody else but yourself. Mm-hmm. And you look at you yesterday and then you say, how do I beat him? That's all I do. Like I have these tasks, I make it so small and I say, how do I knock these off? This is what I said I'm gonna do. And I wanna walk around feeling like I'm him. And if I do these things, I'm gonna feel like I'm him. And then I double down, I make them things I love to do. Like I make it small and then you look at yourself, you just feel like a sucker. Like you put these things down you said you were gonna do and you love to do them. They light you up, even if they're hard to do. On the other side of them, you feel exceptional. So like, that's how I do it. So now there is nobody else. So even if I'm crawling, it feels like flight. It feels like flight.
Hey man, this is how I know I'm looking at two other goats, man, because real recognize real, man. Like literally as soon as I answered the question, like or as soon as I posed the question, my answer came to myself. I was like, oh yeah, wait, I'm gonna hit him with this one. Then y'all motherfuckers, both y'all said exactly what I was gonna say, which is how I know I'm looking at two other goats, man, because I see the reflection. I think in my own words, it's really like when I feel like I'm getting into that comparison trap, when I'm looking at other people, when I'm hating on my own journey, or when I'm frustrated, I really just I close the world out. I press eject. I go into my cocoon. Like it's just me, myself, and I, you know. And I think I'm of the belief that, you know, all of the answers in life are within. All of the answers we need in life, I truly believe, are within. It's just how deep can you dig? Not everybody can dig really deep. It becomes very, very challenging to get to start to penetrate levels of your consciousness, to get in deep. That being said, though, like I just believe that like when it comes to me realizing, you know, my fullest potential and me getting to a point where I can fly, nobody can tell me how to do that. Yeah. I can watch people for inspiration, but that's about it. Like I can't be, you can't be taught how to fly. You almost have to you already know how to fly. That's the crazy part about it. You the listener already know how to fly. It's just about, can you get in alignment with yourself? Can you listen to yourself on how to start getting those wings moving, you know? Like your spirit already knows how to live this best life, but it's like you just got to sit with yourself. You just got to be quiet.
When you said that, I just had the imagery like you already know how to fly. The thing is, you got to jump off the mountain. And to fly, I don't know why, but you got a parachute on your back and you can't fly with the parachute.
Well, okay,
your wings don't come out like that safety net. Like, you're not going.
Okay, all right. Let me hear me out, because I agree.
Jump.
I agree, but I disagree too, because I think the timing is important of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you can just go from nothing to just like, because you have to build the confidence first. You know, you have to have enough confidence in yourself to continue to fly when flying is hard, you know? And for me, I guess what that looked like is, you know, it's just kind of, whether that's reading books or inspiration, right? Like, that inspiration stage is actually a really important stage, because you're pouring into yourself and you're retraining your thinking that, like, it's possible. Because I think Les Brown says this, but if you fall down, like, make sure that you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And a lot of people, I feel like we've been trained. A lot of people are conditioned not to believe that they can get up, you know, that not to believe that they can look up. And so a part of it, if you're starting from square one, you got to retrain yourself. And that kind of happens through inspiration. But then you do get to a point, what Tunji's talking about, at least for me, that I got to a point where it was just like, you can't learn anymore until you jump. You can't actually fly because you have to. Like, you can't read a book and learn how to fly. You gotta fucking try.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying, Kamau, is like talking about jumping off the mountain. You gotta climb the mountain first. You gotta dig into yourself. You gotta go through the process. And that's the beautiful part about being a human being, right? People have walked their path before you. Right. So nobody can teach you how to fly, but they can teach you how to crawl. They can teach you how to walk. They can even help you run. But that flight, that's on you. That's the jump. But if you and this is what I love, right? Like, when it's time to crawl, because it's a lot easier to crawl than it is to jump off the mountain. Like, it's difficult to crawl. It's difficult to walk.
Exactly.
And it only gets really hard when you're looking around trying to figure out, like, we look to people to try and help us run when we need to be learning how to crawl. Like, when you need to be learning how to crawl, learn how to crawl and enjoy that process. If you're watching people run, instead of looking people next to you that can help you crawl, you're going to hate having to crawl. You're going to hate it, because running looks so much better than crawling. But if you focus on mastering the crawl, you can enjoy that process.
Running looks so much better than crawling especially when you're a grown ass person.
Especially when you're starting over. Listen.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, I like how you said that. That's real.
No, that's real.
And I do want to circle back something to Kamau said, because I don't want this to get lost. He said you gain the confidence from when flying gets hard. That right there is so profound. Because when you said that, all I thought about was life and what happens in between life, right? Sometimes I see life as, it's this image that I saw a while back, and it never leaves my mind whenever I think life is getting hard. It's a path, right? But it has so many things on the path. It's not just a straight road. It had like knives coming down. It had different hills. It had mountains. It had a stop sign. It had a yield sign. And I love that analogy. And when you said that, that's what brought me right back to that, because every mistake, every time you had to sit on the couch, every pivot, every time you decided to quit something, every time you got fired, you didn't know, but you were gaining the confidence you were gaining the confidence from when flying gets hard. Because like you said, we are all meant to fly, but we can't get there too early, because when you're flying, you got to make sure that you're flying correctly, in the right direction, at the right speed. And you got to be able to take the turns correctly and smoothly. So I just had to circle back, man. I love when you said that, because that's the whole reason why we're here, to fly in our direction and to bring people aboard with us.
Right. And that's why I love our title, right? Because you can be forced to pivot. You can't be forced to proceed. A lot of people stay at that pivot sign.
Yeah.
A lot of people are still standing at that yield sign, right? Where it's like, okay, let me slow down and let me make that decision. And they don't, because it's hard. It's difficult too. But, and you said that, Kamau, like not everybody can. And I feel like that's true, because I really had to sit back and humble myself, because I'm always like, everybody. But if you listen to us right now, you're not the everybody that can't.
Facts.
Like the few that can't is very, very few that actually can't.
Mm-hmm.
And those that can't, they don't need to. Mm-hmm. Most of us were supposed to, and you can. The question is, will you? That's the only question. A lot of people aren't willing to do the work, because it's hard to look at yourself. And the part that we don't talk about often is, a lot of times we have to go through the consequences for actions that we've made that we don't want to deal with.
All the time.
We don't want to deal with personally, looking at ourselves and who that action may define us as, right? If we ignore it, then okay, man, I can pretend that's not me. I can pretend that's not part of my story. But if you go through it, not only will you be blessed by it, but your sheer existence will bless everybody else around you. It's hard to say, but it's not what's been done to you. It's not what you've done. It's how you respond to these things. It's how you respond that will define you. And once you become active in the decision of the response, because so many of us are still children in the sense of, I feel, I respond. I feel, I respond. Like, I can't control it. That's who I am. No. You are blessed to be a human being, to get to decide. And if you can pause and actually decide, life becomes beautiful.
I was just going to say, I mean, to what Zuri was saying, I think this is kind of why I made the pause on what you were saying, Tunji, about jumping off the mountain. And I'm glad we re-emphasize crawling when you're supposed to crawl, because sometimes if you take such a jump off a mountain, you can kill yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the honest to God, literal truth of it, right?
Talk.
And sometimes you got to know where you're at. You got to know where you're at, and if you jump off that mountain and you kill yourself, it couldn't mean a literal physical death, but it could mean like a spiritual death. It could mean an emotional death, and that death might not be the end for you, but it can take a long time. You know, it could take 10 years, 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Because you jumped off and you killed yourself when you knew. Like when you didn't, and probably because the way that we're wired as human beings is we have a little alarm system in our body that's like, you're getting too close to that edge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think, I mean, I can't really speak from experience here because I haven't jumped off a mountain and killed myself, but I have came very close to the edge. And I've known you got to live to fight another day. You know what I'm saying? That this is not the mountain that you were supposed to die on, Kamau. Like you want to die on it because you want it so bad, or you want the end result, or you want to be flying, or you want to be running already. But right now is not that time. You know what I'm saying?
There's one more death that I personally know about. Purpose death. There are some mountains that you think, again, that you're ready to jump off of, and I don't believe that you could, kill your purpose indefinitely. Before a season, you might, when that was your season, but you decided to tackle that mountain and thought you were ready, and you climbed up and you're in shape now. So you're thinking, oh yeah, I got this, I'm ready. And then you jump off, and now you have more of a waiting season, or you have a longer waiting season because you decided to go when you weren't supposed to go yet. And we know when we're supposed to go. It's in our gut. It's built in us. It's already in us. The stars are already aligned. So we know what it feels like. But sometimes we get so excited because we think we know better than going with the flow, as what we were talking about.
Listening, exactly.
It's not listening. So when you jump off, it's like, all right, all right, now you went too fast, and now you just have to wait a little bit because now you have to climb back up that mountain. Now it's going to be even harder this time. because you got so close, and now it's probably 2 mountains. See, it's not always just one mountain. Because when you decide to jump off, now another one has to be added because you thought you was a smart ass, because you thought you had it all together.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people jump off the wrong mountain,
or
right?
The wrong mountain. Yeah.
Because because we getting real like metaphysical, esoteric.
Yeah,
Let me bring it back to earth. Issa Rae was talking about Awkward Black Girl when it was just a web series, right? And when like she got opportunities then that didn't align to the vision, where people were like, oh, like this is dope. Let me throw the bag at you, but you're not gonna be the star in it. Let me throw the bag at you, but the people that you came up with, though, co-stars ain't gonna be in it. Oh, let me throw the bag at you, but let's do a spinoff, awkward Indian girl, awkward this girl, awkward Australian girl. Oh, we gonna make it all this. And she said, yeah, all that could be good, but that's not the vision. That's not what I'm supposed to do. And because she stayed down to what was calling inside her, she stayed on that long road and she jumped when she was supposed to jump. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And it's just exponential growth. She will have to herself continue climbing and jumping when she's supposed to jump, jumping when we're supposed to jump. And a lot of times we jump early because the bag is there. We jump early because of pride. Sometimes we jump early because the people around us feel like we're supposed to jump now.
Hey, one time for the one. Say that
when
again.
inside you like, this ain't it. This ain't, especially when you got momentum. When you got momentum, it's hard to stop it. It's hard to humble yourself and stop because it feels so good to, we rolling now. We rolling like opportunity. And you get the, this one don't feel right. People like, what you doing? We rolling.
Bro, I feel like this is an NBA analogy because like dudes are heading to the quarter, they hot. They're like, oh no, like I'm finna close this game out instead of making the assist. You know what I'm saying? Right, they're like, I'm just finna pull up this street like hero ball time.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, is that, and it seems like we going back and forth, but it's all about balance.
Yeah.
That's the reality. And it's a lot of, when you talk about climbing that mountain, crawling, it teaches you to hear that voice. When to jump and when to step back from the edge. That journey teaches you to hear that voice because nobody, that's another part of it. A lot of people don't know what they sound like anymore. A lot of people don't know what they sound like anymore. You can't tell the difference between your own voice and everybody else's. All the other noise around you, and it takes getting quiet. And when you get quiet, your voice sounds a lot like God's.
I can't anymore. I can't.
I'm telling you.
I can't.
I'm telling you.
Kamau over here, he weak, y'all. He weak.
When you get quiet, your voice sounds a lot like God's. I'm telling you.
That's facts, though. That's facts.
I'm telling you.
Because we are him. Like we're of him. That's his number facts.
There's no separation.
Facts. Sheesh. But I think that was a perfect transition of how we ended that into
this mic a little too hot.
Into two of our favorite.
Hold it.
Right. Gotta let it cool off a little bit. We two aligned this episode. I'm loving it. I think it's a good transition into our two favorite closeout topics, though. How y'all feeling?
Oh yeah. Let's run it.
All right, man. What y'all been listening to? Hit me with it. What's been getting y'all through those hard working days? What's up?
Come on, I'm coming with it. So it was funny because we talk about this alignment piece. I remember a handful of episodes back, I mentioned Rex Life Raj, and y'all just started spazzing. And I think Tunji was like, "Oh, like I thought I discovered him. I thought the same thing." I was like, "None of my homies are on Rex," but so yeah, I've definitely been rocking with Rex Life Raj. I'm gonna put 2 songs out, but then this other dude, West Side Boogie.
My guy,
bro.
My guy. That's my guy.
This dude is so nice, bro. Like, and And
Yeah,
the way
special.
that I kind of like to come across artists is just like on my own, you know what I'm saying? Like I just kind of fall into him. Like I fell into this album of his from 2019, you know what I'm saying? I'm way late on it, but Everything's for Sale by West Side Boogie, bro, is just a playthrough, like start to
Yeah.
finish. And like you just don't really you can't even try to make that kind of album if you wanted to. Like to make a playthrough is to me like you're just aligned, you know what I'm saying, where you're flowing from top to bottom. You know, I feel like most recording artists try attempt to do that, but you
Yeah.
can't force that process. Sometimes the fucking art is just there, and sometimes only pieces of it are there. This
Mm,
whole thing was there, bro. I was
that's a
really feeling it, and this is
body of work.
from 2019. So West Side Boogie, Everything's for Sale.
But and follow up come out like listen to Thirst 48.
Is
Thirst
this
48 part 2.
oh yeah, this
Yeah,
2016
West
joint?
Side Boogie. This came out 2016. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that like
He
nah,
got
I rock
another
with
one
West Side
too
Boogie.
that was from
Just
20,
dropped.
yeah, that just dropped. And it's funny, I'm like, I wasn't even hip to the new one. I'm listening to the one from
Hmm.
years back. So
That's a
Just
beautiful
added.
thing to get to go back on the journey and be like, okay, where we at with it? And I'll go ahead and jump in with mine. Like I would say Burna Boy, but I need to give that time and a listen because that just dropped today. The Love Domini. Uh, but La Russell, right now I'm going through his journey, listening to him, like from the Bay, Hometown Hero. What was I listening to today? His album For What It's Worth. That was actually came out 2022, and I was listening to the song like For What It's Worth, and then another one, Hard Head, Soft Ass, because that's just that could be my
that's Tunji.
autobiography. That could be my autobiography. Yeah, yeah.
I'm dead.
So that's definitely a La Russell.
Okay. I like how you said that, Tunji, how you packaged that. You said you're going on that journey with him. I love that. That's a good way to talk about music. All right. So I'm a little late, right? I'm a little late to this artist, but technically I didn't just get put on to him, but I finally gave him a chance. And that's Tyler the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
The newest album, Call Me If You Get Lost. It's a gem from top to bottom. It's a vibe. I was not expecting this at all. But that's why you give artists a chance to tell their story and to
And they
listen to what they got
change. They
going
can
on.
evolve.
That's true. That's true too. They can pivot, head ass. My
That needs to be part of the outro. that needs to be a drop.
Yeah. My favorite song so far, for like I'm 2 weeks in, but favorite song so far, What's Your Name? Featuring Young Boy Never Broke Again, which then he adds like this flair to the beat. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. So yeah, that's my music pick for the week for sure.
That's what's up.
I'm gonna give that a listen. I've seen it too, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and I think the definition of an artist, James Baldwin said, an artist can never be a success because the second you believe you're a success, like you stop challenging yourself, you stop risking. So I think a true artist never stops growing. That's why Tyler the Creator, all these the people that are still here, like a Drake, a Kanye, a Jay-Z, they force themselves to continue growing. So I don't think you can have that label of an artist and not grow. And if you are an artist, that's why you're still here.
Yeah. I like that.
Hey, well, that's actually a good segment into Glows and Grows because, you know, for my grow, I think that's it. What you just said, Tunji. My grow, and I said this on a couple episodes ago, where I talked about investing into myself, continuing to consume stuff, continuing to feed myself, because I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm given a lot. Like a lot of my day is just I'm on calls with people. I'm ideas, doing stuff like, you know, I just feel like I give so much of myself. And I knew a mentor of mine had a similar phenomenon where he was just like, I'm just pulling from the same experiences, you know? And I think, you know, when you're in a space that like you haven't really figured out what you can do to serve people, you're just building experiences. You know, you're just experimenting, you're just trying things, right? You're just building stuff. You don't even know you're building it until somebody starts asking you like, hey, we need something. Then you just start pulling out all your experiences and you're trying to bring them to the table and you're trying to relate them. But then you get to a point where you're kind of like a well that's ran dry. And that's how I've been feeling. Like I feel like I need to put more water back into myself. I need to continue to figure out ways to replenish this, because I'm serving, you know, I'm helping other people drink, like not in a weird way, but like just like in an inspiration, in a creative, in any kind of facilitating manner. Like I feel like I'm helping people, but I also feel like I'm starting to get to a place where I like, how much more can I do this, you know? And it's because I'm not pouring back into myself. I've just been relying a lot on things I've done in the past. So yeah, it's a tall task. I don't even know how to go about it, really. I don't even, you know, this is a new space for me. So we'll update. On the grow side, I mean, the grow was in there. The grow was, or the glow was, helping people. Like, I get to do this. I get to do this. I get to be on the phone. I get to be the person that people are coming to with ideas. I get to be that. That's a freaking awesome place for me, because I just love seeing people come alive. I mean, it fires me up. So that's a glow of mine. Just helping people, but then watching them go, you know, watching them like move. So yeah.
Nice. I would say my glow is being open to a new community aligning for me that I remember that I prayed for. Like I was so specific in the type of people I want around me, because I was around people who I didn't want to be around, or who didn't feel like home to me. So I was very intentional with asking for a community that they were authentically themselves, and that it just aligns with me, that I feel home, that it's like a warm hug. And that's aligning for me. And I came to that realization the other day, where we all went out for drinks. And I don't know, we were just having so much warm fun. And I'm noticing I have different communities that I've prayed for, with you all being one of them.
Sheesh, go ahead now.
But I swear, if I brought everybody together, it will feel like home for all of us. I know that deep down in my gut. So just knowing that is, and I still say aligning, because I know that it's still not done, but I know this is a great start to it. So that definitely my glow. My grow would be, okay. Let's sit with it. My grow would be just knowing that like just like things are like, it's okay if I can just, I know it's simple, it's so simplistic, but everything is okay. Everything that's happening is supposed to happen just the way it is. And I think me being in that headspace and accepting that, it's really just prevailing me and elevating me in so many different ways and aspects. So yeah, it's definitely
Come
mine.
on now with the prevailing and the elevating and the we ascending. Come on now.
Hey.
Oh man, that was dope. Both of y'all. I think my glow is me being proud of myself, because like in this process, it's been about a week and a half, and I ask myself the question, like, what will you do with freedom when your time belongs to you? Will you honor it? Will you honor the gift for an entire day? It's different when it's before and after work, and you have the excuse of, you know, oh, I'm tired, or let me be. Nah, but when your time belongs to you, what will you do with freedom? And my glow is right now. And I'll say, I'm taking it small, one day at a time, one moment at a time. I'm proud of myself, because what I'm doing with freedom, my ancestors would be proud of it because I'm proud of it. And my grow. And I just found this morning because, like I said, I've been really digging into myself, trying to figure out things to like motivate myself. And I was going through like some of the world's most dangerous animals, right? And one I found is called the bullet ant. And he said it's called the bullet ant because its bite feels like getting shot with a bullet. One of the most like painful things you can experience. And there's a tribe that their rite of passage is they make a glove, and boys to become men have to stick their hand in the glove 20 times. And I feel like my grow is I'm going through my rite of passage and I've like stuck my hand in 5 times. And my grow is like, are you still willing to put it in 15 more? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like you've been bit, you going through it. Like you still gonna stick your hand in that glove because you're not done. So like that's my grow. Coming back, and I'm saying that here so I can come back to this conversation and mark myself when I'm asked glows and grows. Am I still sticking my hand in that glove? Like what number am I at now when I honestly ask myself? If I say I'm at 5 now, am I closer to 20 next time we have this conversation? So yeah, hand in bullet ants. Like that's where we at.
Hey, y'all ate well today, listeners. Listen,
Right,
y'all should be
well.
full. Y'all should be full.
I
Y'all
ate
should be
well.
energized, full, ready to go.
Bro,
all
I'm not
because of
even
Pivot
gonna
and Proceed. And I'm just saying.
I be having to like stop yelling. Like I like sometimes y'all just be saying shit, and I just I want to start just screaming, bro, and just like fucking knocking shit over.
Yeah, I wish y'all could see Kamau when Tunji was talking. This man had his whole head in his face. He said, "Fuck the mic. I'ma just sit here." But nah, man, y'all eating. We all eating. The listeners, y'all full.
Yeah.
Listen.
No cap. I grow
Community plates in this thing, man.
No, real talk. Real talk.
We making plates over here. Come get some.
Yeah, we cooking like grandma. When grandma cooks, everybody eats.
Listen.
Everybody eats, whether you want to or not.
No
listen.
biscuits.
You tuned in, so you eating. Just come back for more. That's all we want.
Real talk. You loved. You loved. And if anybody else don't have anything to say, may I say this? May every pivot be followed by a proceed. We love y'all. We love y'all.
Sheesh.